Did you know the soundtrack of a movie can be just as impactful as the story itself? Think of Titanic. Can you hear My Heart Will Go On? Or Star Wars? That triumphant theme instantly takes you to a galaxy far, far away. Great music doesn't just support a film, it defines it. Today, we're diving into the most iconic movie soundtracks that shape generations and the composers, artists, and films that turn sound into legacy. This is movie soundtracks that define a generation. The magic of music and film. From the silent film era, when orchestras played live, to today's Dolby Atmos blockbusters, music and film have always been connected. Jaws. Just two notes from John Williams turned water into terror. Chariots of Fire. Vangelis made slow motion feel heroic. Inception. Hans Zimmer created ticking time bombs with sound. Music sets mood. It builds tension. It creates emotion that visuals alone can't. 1970s and earlier, the birth of iconic soundtracks. Before blockbusters, early films were already shaping culture with sound. Gone with the Wind, Max Steiner, the father of film music, Psycho. Bernard Herrmann's screeching violins made horror unforgettable. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Kubrick used Strauss to elevate sci-fi into opera. Then came the 1970s, The Godfather. Nino Rota's haunting melody, instantly recognizable. Star Wars. John Williams brought back the grandeur of orchestral scores. Saturday Night Fever. The Bee Gees made disco cinematic and legendary. Key names of this era include Max Steiner, Bernard Herrmann, Nino Rota, Ennio Morricone, John Williams, and the Bee Gees. 1980s. The soundtrack of youth and rebellion. The 80s were loud, emotional, and full of synths and rebellion. The Breakfast Club. Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me became teenage angst in a song. Top Gun. Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins turned speed into sound. Purple Rain. Prince wrote, starred in, and dominated the entire soundtrack. Flashdance. Irene Cara's What a Feeling became an anthem of empowerment. Key artists and composers include John Williams, Vangelis, Prince, Harold Faltermeyer, Kenny Loggins, and Giorgio Moroder. These weren't just soundtracks, they were cultural blueprints. 1990s grunge, angst, and authenticity. The 1990s brought grunge, indie, and emotional rawness. Singles, featuring Pearl Jam and Soundgarden that bottled Seattle's music revolution. Reality bites. Lisa Loeb's Stay defined the Gen X soul-searching vibe. Clueless, Radiohead no doubt, and Coolio captured a new cultural mix. Trainspotting, Iggy Pop, Underworld, and Blur captured chaos with rhythm. Key composers and artists include Danny Elfman, Hans Zimmer, Trent Reznor, Pearl Jam, Radiohead, and Lisa Loeb. The 90s were about being real, and so were the soundtracks. 2000s, indie and hip-hop take the lead. The 2000s got personal with indie introspection and hip-hop energy. Garden State, The Shins and Iron and Wine gave us a mixtape of emotion. Napoleon Dynamite, awkward, nostalgic, unforgettable. 8 Mile, Eminem's Lose Yourself won an Oscar and became a global anthem. The Lord of the Rings. Howard Shore gave us one of the most sweeping fantasy scores ever created. Notable names include Howard Shore, Hans Zimmer, Eminem, Kanye West, Clint Mansell, and The Shins. 2010's 2020's global sounds infusion. Today we see genre-bending, global collaboration, and music that leads culture. Black Panther. Kendrick Lamar and Ludwig Göransson created a revolutionary blend of hip-hop and African tradition. La La Land. Justin Hurwitz brought jazz and musicals roaring back into the Spider-Verse. Post Malone, Vince Staples, and others brought a fresh sound to superhero cinema. Barbie, Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish, and Nicki Minaj turned a pink fantasy into a disco-fueled experience. Key composers today include Ludwig Göransson, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross, Justin Hurwitz, and Hildur Gudnadottir Soundtracks today are chart toppers before the movie even premieres. The future of movie soundtracks. What's next? We're heading into AI-generated music, interactive scores in games and VR films, personalized soundtracks that adapt to your emotions. Streaming makes soundtracks instantly shareable. Technology makes them more immersive. The future of film music is limitless. Closing. What soundtrack defined your generation? From sweeping violins to digital beats, soundtracks aren't background, they are the story. They define characters, they define decades, and sometimes they define us. So tell me, what soundtrack defined your generation? Drop it in the comments. And if you love this musical deep dive, like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more videos about how music shapes the movies we love. Thanks for watching.